The puzzle we're going to work on today is called Place Your Number. It's kind of an interesting looking grid. Let's take a quick look at it and read through the instructions on what we're going to try to accomplish with today's puzzle. The large square below is divided into 4 smaller squares, A, B, C, and D. And each one of the smaller squares is divided into 4 sections, north, east, south, and west. We're going to use the clues to number the sections. Each section will contain a different number from 1 through 16. Once again, we're using different numbers. None of the numbers 1 through 16 will repeat. So obviously we've got 4 squares, each divided into 4 sections, and 4 times 4, of course, is 16. One of the interesting things about Place Your Number is that there's just a very few number of clues. There's only 6 clues. Let's read through them real quickly. Clue number 1. We're going to read through all the clues before we try to start solving anything, and that's always a helpful place to go rather than getting down to clue 6 and realizing that you should have gotten there before you did clue 1. Clue 1. Within each square, the north number is 3 times the south number. Clue number 2. The total of all of the numbers in square A is 45. That means all of those 4 numbers are going to add up to 45. Clue number 3, the total of all of the numbers in square B is 19. Clue number 4, the numbers in square C are even. Clue 5, D south is the square root, hold on, let's put a line through square root there for a moment, of C west, which is double B east. And clue 6, the east numbers are consecutive. Why did I cross out square root? Because I just didn't want people to freak out too fast. Square root is one of those math concepts that can send people running for the door. Trust me, it's not going to be that tough, and we'll deal with that clue when we get to it. After analyzing all of these clues, where is a good place to start? Well, the first thing that we want to do is take a look at clue 1 again. Within each square, the north number is 3 times the south number. As we've done on some other puzzles, what are the possibilities, what are the combinations that we can use for north and south where one number is going to be 3 times the other number? The north number is going to be 3 times the south number. So, for example, if south is 1, north would have to be 3. If south is 2, north would have to be 6. If south is 3, north would have to be 9, 4, and 12, 5, and 15. 6 would certainly work, but if we were to put 6 here, 3 times 6 is 18. We're only using the numbers 1 through 16. So these are really the only 5 combinations that we can use to make north and south. Let's take another look at clue number 4. All of the numbers in square C are even. Let's take a look at the combinations now that we just wrote down. If both of the numbers in C, north and south, have to be even, it's going to greatly limit the numbers that we can use for the north and south in section C. Section C. Can we use the combination 1 and 3? No, we can't. Those are both odd numbers. That's out. Well, 2 and 6 are certainly a possibility. 3 and 9 would not be. 4, 12 is a possibility. And 5 and 15, those are out. So we know that the numbers for north and south, where north is 3 times the south number, this is going to have to be either 6 or 12, and the bottom number is going to have to be either 2 or 4. Those are the only possibilities that we can go with for section C. Now we also have another clue that's very important. Let's return to clue number 2. The total numbers in square A are 45. Did you know that if you add up all of the numbers, 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 all the way to 16, they add up to 136. That's just a piece of trivia. Knowing that A has to add up to 45, let's go back to these clues again and see what we can deduce for section A. What are the two largest numbers available to us? 15 and 16. What is 15 plus 16? 15 plus 16 is 31. If we know that the largest combination we can possibly have is 31, and if we were to use this first combination, which only adds up to 4, 35. 31 and 4 is 35. Well, that combination cannot work in square A because it doesn't get us to the 45 that we need. So let's talk about section A. That's out. What about 6 and 2? 6 and 2 still is only going to get us to 39. That's going to be out up there also. What about the third combination? 3 and 9 would add up to 12. 43, we're getting much closer, but 43 is not 45. Even if we use the maximum numbers for east-west, 15, 16, and then we use the combination 3 and 9, north and south, that's still not going to get us to 45. That's out. Which means 4 and 12, which adds up to 16, now puts us over that threshold of 45. 12 and 4, 5 and 15 are still possibilities. We can still use those as possible targets. And I'll put my little target diagram for what we need there. Let's move on and tackle clue number 5. And as you can see, I've got an inset that we're going to work on here to analyze clue number 5. Square root, very simply, is a number of a square when multiplied by itself that will give you that particular number. For example, if your square root is 2, 2 times 2 is 4, and half of 4, again, is 2. D south is the square root. So if we have a square root of 2, C west is that number, which is double east. So we need to figure out the combinations for square roots, squares, and the numbers. If we have a square root of 3, the number itself is 9. Half of that is 4.5. Now, we have one more possible combination, which is 4. If we multiply 4 times itself, it gives us 16. Half of 16 is 8. Let's take a look at that for a moment. We have a square root, a number, and half that number. This possibility is not usable. Why? Because we're repeating the numbers 2 and 2. That can be eliminated. Obviously here, in order to get half of our number, we have to use a fraction, 4.5. We're using no fraction numbers here, all whole numbers. Therefore, the only possibility for this combination in clue 5 is this one here. Let's take a look at that. D south is the square root. So if we go to D south and put in that square root, we can put in 4 here of C west. C west is the number that we're looking for. C west, 16, which is double B east. B east, half of that is 8. So we have now put in the square root 4 of C west, 16, which is double east. So if we divide that by 2, we get 8. We now have those 3 numbers. What does that mean? Well, because we have now placed the 4 here, previously in C south we determined that it had to be either 2 or 4. 4 has been used, leaving 2. And we said that C north is 3 times C south, leaves 6. Let's quickly cross off the numbers that we've used. We've used 2, 4, 6, 8, and 16. It seemed like a good place for us to take a break. We'll come back and continue more with Place Your Number when the Puzzle Detective continues right after this.